and welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv and today is the start of a brand new spring reading vlog. This readathon is extra special to me because this is the first one I have ever hosted with my patrons. It's a 48-hour spring readathon called Spring Fling, and we basically are just reading spring books for this readathon, but there is 3 prompts which I will go over in a second. But overall, I am just so excited that spring is finally here. My allergies definitely aren't loving it, but I am loving the warmer weather, the spring books, and I've read a couple springish books so far, but none that are like hardcore spring books. So this is going to be the weekend that I do that. If you guys have not checked out my Patreon before, I am hosting either 24 or 48-hour readathons every other month, and we just get to have fun and read together. I'm doing live reading sprints this weekend twice, and it's just gonna be a party. I'm also just super hyped to jump back into another reading vlog because I feel like it's been a good month or so since I've done a vlog. I think the last one I did was the 24-hour readathon for the graphic novels, so it's been a hot minute, but I'm just super excited to get to hang out with you guys this weekend and just read to my heart's content. So let me go ahead and talk you guys through what I will be reading. First of all, can we take a minute to appreciate this stunning floral sleeve that was made by my friend Rachel at Happy Go Lovely Sleeves. If you guys are not following her, I highly recommend. And little tip, I always leave a discount link in my description for 20% off. So if you guys do not follow her, go check out her Instagram. Her quality is absolutely stunning, and we have this gorgeous pink on the inside, and I love this mint color with the orange. So I'm going to be using this all weekend because it's got flowers on it and it's just perfect. But for the prompts for this readathon, the first one is to read a book with plants or flowers on the cover. So I decided that I'm going to go ahead and read Flower Heart by Catherine Bakewell. This is actually the April book club pick for my book club called the Tea Time Society. It's a standalone young adult fantasy, and it just looks like perfection for this time of year. There's cottagecore vibes. The main girl, Clara, I think her anxiety plays out with her just like exploding flowers from her hands. And there's a childhood friends to lovers romance, I believe. So I'm super hyped to get to this one. I'm super excited to chat about it with you guys, and I just feel like it's going to be the perfect first pick for my book club. The next prompt is just to read a cute romance. It could be within a fantasy, an actual romance book. I mean, the whole readathon is called Spring Fling, so I just kind of rolled with that theme. And for this prompt, I'm going to be reading The Kindred Spirits Supper Club, which I have had on my radar, like the top of my romance list for ages now, mainly because I've heard it has similar vibes to The Dead Romantics, which you guys know I also am obsessed with. I guess our main character Sabrina sees ghosts and she ends up falling for this guy. I don't know much about it, but I will say I did start listening to this morning as I was getting ready, and I was already dying laughing. It takes place at Wisconsin Dells. I've actually been there multiple times myself, and this food fight kind of breaks out between 2 families, and I was already dying laughing. So if you want a good wholesome romance but also something that's a little bit more funny, I highly recommend this already. I don't want to call it a 5 stars yet, but it's definitely headed in that direction. And the last easy simple prompt is just to read a spring graphic novel. It could be one set in spring, one that makes you think of spring, or one that just looks like spring in regards to maybe the color palette. Honestly, I had such a hard time choosing for this one that I decided to go with 2 different graphic novels, and the first one is The Moth Keeper by Katie O'Neill, and this is a new middle grade graphic novel of hers. You can kind of see the artwork in here. I do know it's fantasy, but this moth kind of reminds me of like a spring butterfly, and the colors with the pale yellow just really make me think of spring. But I'm super stoked to be getting into another Katie O'Neill, so I will be prioritizing this one. But then another graphic novel that I somehow stumbled upon, I'm not sure if someone was reading this on Goodreads or how I found it, but it's an Enola Holmes graphic novel. Are you kidding me? It has spring flowers on the front. It's pink and purple. It just screams spring to me. It's so perfect, and the artwork is very quirky. It's very cute. It almost reminds me of like a series of unfortunate events, that style with kind of like the pointier facial features. And I think this is just going to be a really fun one and break up some of the reading words on a page, because there's actually 3 different stories within this book, and there's 2 volumes out, and I think there's 3 stories in each one. So I'm hoping to really love this one. I have only seen the Enola Holmes movies. I haven't read the full novels or anything, but this just sounds like a really cute, fun time, and obviously it looks super great for spring. I also wanted to mention that I came up with a spring bingo board, just in case people didn't love the reading prompts or they just wanted to challenge themselves a little bit more. So I am going to be doing some of these activities in this vlog that are on this bingo board, such as buying myself flowers, going on a picnic, taking a nature walk. I'll probably take a picture of my TBR, make a refreshing drink. We are going to be making some lavender lemonade for our picnic, which I'm super excited about, and create or color a spring piece of artwork. So I am super excited because I feel like these are all activities you can do at home. You don't necessarily have to go out and do anything crazy, but it's just the epitome of a book nerd that wants to be a homebody like me. So these are going to be some of the activities that I include in this vlog. So let's just go ahead and dive right into our reading by making ourselves some lemonade and creating a cute little picnic. So before we go on our little picnic, I thought we would try the lavender lemonade together, and it smells delightful. I will say I only had gel food coloring and not the drops. So there's little chunks of food coloring at the bottom, which hopefully will melt over time, but I'm so excited to try this. I hope it's not too overly lavender because I feel like lavender is pretty strong. So let's just go ahead and try it. Oh wow. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. It's definitely not overly lavender. It could use a little bit more lemon. Yeah, that's absolute perfection. You guys need to try making this. It's so good. Say hi to the people? Huh? No, you don't look very happy. Alright friends, we are back with a little reading update, but first of all, my picnic was very short-lived. I came across two spiders, one where I was trying to get outside, which was massive, one that was invading my blanket, and also a wasp landed on my hand while I was holding my phone. And it was also super duper hot because it was like 1 p.m. So my picnic was very short-lived, but it was still nice to get a little bit of fresh air for like 15 minutes. But we got that checked off of the bingo board, so we are good to go on that. And now I'm halfway through the Kindred Spirit Supper Club, and I'm a little bit behind than what I wanted to be. That's okay. I am actually about to jump right into sprints here in a few minutes with Rachel, Keisha, and Kendal, so that is definitely going to be a party. We're probably going to be reading for like 4 hours tonight, and I have sprints scheduled for tomorrow morning to get me out of bed, so these books will get read. But I've just basically been listening to this one as I've been doing stuff today, and it's just been a really enjoyable day. You know, I made some lemonade, arranged some flowers, just kind of hung out today. I'm honestly feeling pretty tired. I didn't sleep the greatest last night, so I have not technically really read anything physically with my eyeballs yet, so I'm definitely ready to jump into sprints. This is actually set in the Wisconsin Dells, or at the Wisconsin Dells indoor water amusement park where I actually grew up going, which is so funny to me. I had no idea that this was in that area, so that just makes the story come even more alive. I was dying laughing in the beginning because there is our main character named Sabrina who is just minding her own business. She's taking her nieces and nephews, I believe, to this water park, and she somehow gets hit in the face with a margarita and it almost breaks her nose. We definitely start out with something crazy, and it's really funny. It's comical so far. The main male love interest in this book is actually a cook, and I think he might actually know how to bake as well, so we love that. But just like the Dead Romantics, Sabrina can actually see ghosts, and apparently only the females in her family can see them. And there's this ghost named Molly that's always following her around and giving her like relationship advice and kind of pushing her to get into these romantic relationships. So there's definitely a lot of humor there, and we also learn a little bit more of Molly's backstory, which I think is super interesting. The anxiety representation with Sabrina in this is also really great. She's only been in 1 or 2 other relationships before, and she just gets very nervous in them, and there's a whole backstory to that I won't sit here and spoil for you, but the anxiety rep is also really good. And this is probably a side note, but there was a large portion where there was like a Harry Potter kind of reference that just made me smile, and I don't know, I just feel like I can relate somewhat to Sabrina because she's kind of nerdy, and I love that about her. But 2 things I'm not really liking is Sabrina's ex-boyfriend shows up in this, and his fiance, who I believe was actually Sabrina's like bully in school. She was super mean to her, and she still is, and I just hate that for Sabrina. There's also a trope in this that I'm not gonna spoil because I don't remember it being on the back of this book, but it's not my favorite trope, and I didn't really know what I was getting into reading this one. That might bump it down like a half star for me. There's something about the connection with the 2 main characters that are slowly falling in love that I'm not loving. Like, maybe it's just because I'm listening to it on audio, but I think also when you come off of reading like Abby Jimenez and Emily Henry, who are my all-time favorites, and I just read an Abby Jimenez, I feel like it's going to be hard not to compare romance books to her. So I think right now I'm settling like a 4-star, but we're only halfway through, so that could definitely change by the time I finish this. So before reading sprints, I think I'm actually gonna try to get like 30-40 minutes into the audio of Flower Heart. That is going to be the main book that I physically read because that's my book club pick for the month, and I need to actually like physically read that and tab and annotate and all that good stuff. So that is the one that I'm going to be focusing pretty hardcore on for the rest of the night. So hopefully tomorrow I should have a little bit more of an update for you on that front. But I am also feeling really tired and decided to crack open this strawberry Monster, and I typically don't drink Monster. Alani Nu is like my #1 fave. I usually drink like the powder packets, or I get the cans. They're a little bit healthier for you. I just went ahead and decided to shake things up a little bit and go with the harder stuff, and I drank half of this earlier, and I'm gonna drink the other half now to keep me awake till like midnight tonight. I need to go ahead and grab the rest of my books and settle in for some sprints, pick an ambience room, all that good stuff. I will probably check in with you guys tomorrow because by the time we're finished it's probably gonna be pretty late by that point. So I will go ahead and say goodbye, good night now, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow. Good morning everyone, or should I say good afternoon, because it is now 2:30 p.m. and I have been sprinting literally all morning with my patrons from 10 a.m. to now basically, and I do have a reading report because I finished Flower Heart. I basically started this last night on sprints and then finished it today on sprints. So we've got some great tabs going on here, but I am so intrigued to discuss this with the book club because I feel like there's kind of some mixed reviews and I don't want to give too much away. But my favorite part was the flowers and the magical system. It was so much fun, and it was really unique how that was weaved into kind of anxiety and depression representation. I thought it was a really cool way to explore mental health in a fantasy book, something that I definitely have never seen before. So I thought that was a very unique spin on things. But I will say the biggest thing I was not a fan of was the male love interest. Sadly, I just thought he was very like flat, one-dimensional. I feel like maybe because I just came off of reading a great romance book that this just wasn't quite hitting the mark for me. I had to just keep reminding myself this is young adult fantasy, it's not adult romance, they're completely two different things, and I feel like I've definitely just grown out of young adult fantasy in general. I feel like maybe I just wasn't the right audience for this, but that is not to say I do not not recommend this because I definitely do, but I would honestly only read it during the springtime because of the flower magical system. I feel like that was just the best part about this. So I'm gonna hold off on my rating. I feel like I just need to sit on it and let it stew for a little bit because I literally just finished it. So if you want to hear my thoughts, you can definitely hop on the book club discussion that is happening May 4th. If you also follow me on Goodreads, I'm sure you'll see my review there. So plans for the rest of the day, it is actually a very, very, very dreary Sunday afternoon. So the sprints were really helpful to get me out of bed, get me reading, but now I'm just going to have to find something to keep my mind and hands like productive so I'm not tempted to take a nap or something. So I think I'm going to color my spring coloring book, but then I think I'm just going to finish the Kindred Spirit Supper Club because I am only like 65% of the way through still. I was listening to it while I was getting ready this morning, but I still have like 2 hours and 45 minutes left. So I think I'm going to try my best to get through this one. And then of course I think I might take a little bit of a break and read The Moth Keeper, which I've been dying to get to, and if I have any extra time I'm definitely going to be diving into Enola Holmes, but for now this is going to be my priority, just to try to get through these two for now. Other than that, I might do like a little self-care day and take a bath, do some spring nails, and just enjoy like a cozy rainy afternoon at home. I feel like I haven't had one in a while, so we're just gonna do all the cozy fun things. Definitely drink some more of that lavender lemonade because that was amazing. But for now I'm gonna go ahead and grab some lunch and get my coloring stuff going, and yeah, I will check in with you guys soon. Welcome to the end of the Spring Fling readathon vlog. This is a different day because in typical Olivia fashion, I forgot to film an outro for this, mainly because it was super late at night, and I did do a little self-care night. I did my nails. They're like this blue color with daisies on them, and let me just say, if you've never checked out Olive and June with their glue-on press nails, highly recommend because I am so addicted to them, and that's what these are. They have all kinds of colors, lengths, shapes, and they're just the absolute best, so definitely check them out. It was definitely overdue for me to do some new nails, so that's what I did, but I also completed my last book, The Moth Keeper by Katie O'Neill. I did really enjoy this one, but it's not going to be one that I reread. It's probably like middle of the road, 4 stars. It was enjoyable, but it was definitely not an all-time favorite. I feel like the meaning or the purpose of the story could have been a little bit deeper. I also still cannot figure out what kind of animals these were in the book. But besides that, they were super cute. While I love graphic novels, it's always hard for me to figure out how to rate them. So if I had to choose, I'd probably give this one 4 stars, but I do love Katie O'Neill. I love the Tea Dragon Society, and I was just super excited to read something else from her. So yeah, I highly recommend picking this one up still, especially if you are familiar with her artwork and just her stories. I feel like this was so cute and so fantastical, and I love fantasy, so this was just right up my alley. It wasn't one of my new favorites, like I said, but it was really enjoyable. And of course, I ended up reading The Kindred Spirit Supper Club and Flower Heart, which Flower Heart I'm gonna hold off on my rating because I am going to discuss this for my book club. But like I said, it was a little bit more middle of the road for me. I don't know if it's gonna be one that I remember for ages to come, but the vibes and the atmosphere were so unique. The mental health representation and discussion was absolutely amazing. I think this was so good and such a needed book, especially for young adult. Overall, it was a really quick, enjoyable read, but I'm just excited to see what everybody else thinks. And I think I'm actually going to give The Kindred Spirit Supper Club 4.5 stars because this was so much fun, and it just stands out to me as really creative because you don't often get kind of those paranormal vibes in romance. It's also a clean romance from what I remember, either that or Cracked Door, and it was just so much fun. I actually owned her Christmas book, Once Upon a December, but I'm definitely gonna go scour the internet to see if she has any more books because this was just such a wonderful time. I can highly recommend picking this up. I would say because it takes place at an indoor water park, you could probably read it any time of the year, but this was just such a pleasant surprise, and I'm so happy that I ended up loving it, but I just wish that I had finally picked it up sooner. But I was able to manage to get all of these read, and they were all really solid, good books. I just wanted to shout out my Patreon once again and my lovely patrons who seriously make this weekend so much fun. I have the sweetest group of girls, the sweetest group of people over there, and I cannot wait until the next readathon that we do. You guys made this so incredibly special, and everyone is so kind to each other. You guys are so creative. You have the best book taste. Thank you so much to my sweet patrons for honestly making my dreams come to life of just creating my own readathon and having such a fun time with it. And thank you guys for clicking on this video, watching it, and supporting my channel. I love you guys so incredibly much, and I look forward to seeing you in my next bookish video.